Ah là là. On avait dit qu'on allait avoir du fun.
We said we were going to have fun. Dear friends, my very first words should be to thank and congratulate Brian, Nathan, Peggy, Paul, Martin, and Nikki for a race that provided us with innovative ideas that will allow us to keep the momentum going. Together, everyone together.
Une campagne comme celle-ci.
A campaign such as this one is first and foremost about teamwork. And I'd like to thank the hundreds of volunteers and staff that worked tirelessly for 6 months for our campaign to get to this extraordinary result. I would like to thank my wife, Catherine, who, despite her very busy professional life, managed to stay with me during this race and during my entire political career. To our children, Matt, his wife Jasmine, and their daughter Juliet, and our son Greg, who also is our webmaster for the campaign. Thank you for your constant support. To my mother, my mom, who with her brothers and sisters is up north watching us. Hello. And I'd also like to tell the central team of the campaign, Raoul Gébert, who is also the president of the Quebec chapter of the NDP and a formidable director of this campaign, as well as Chantal Turgeon, my extraordinary press attaché, who for the past 10 years always manages to be an island of calm, whatever happens around us. And Ian Gillespie, a workaholic and a brilliant strategist. A huge thank you.
Now, one of the things I had to get used to 6 years ago when I started attending NDP events at the invitation of Jack was listening to everybody address themselves as brothers and sisters. But I'm about to really say hello to my brothers and sisters because from Vancouver Island to Saint-Lazare, Colleen, Peter, Jeannie, Danny, Debbie, Sheila, Maureen, Kelly, and Sean have been supporting this campaign, keeping a smile on my face with their funny emails and their encouragement. So a lot of them are here, and merci, thank you. Thanks to our national co-chairs, Lauren Nystrom from Saskatchewan and Renee Taylor from Ontario. Our Atlantic co-chairs, Paula Simon and Dominic Cardy. Our Quebec co-chairs, les co-présidents pour le Québec, Marie-Claude
co-chairs for Quebec, Marie-Claude Morin and François Lapointe.
Our Ontario co-chairs, Teresa Kavanaugh and the Honourable Stephen Foster. And finally, our Prairie co-chairs, Rachel Devine and Will Olive. Sorry, I said finally, but I've actually got more. And our BC co-chairs, the incredible Heather Harrison and the extraordinary Michael Byers, who have really not stopped since the beginning of this thing. We even had a northern co-chair in Mac Hake from Yellowknife. Donc, merci à mes collègues.
So thank you to my fellow MPs from New Brunswick all the way to Newfoundland and Labrador who supported my candidacy. And thank you to the former premiers and NDPers, Ed Schreier from Manitoba, Mike Harcourt from British Columbia, and Pierce McDonald from the Yukon who supported me. But above all else, thank you to the members themselves of the NDP, because we are celebrating today the victory for the members of the NDP who chose their own leader. Thank you, and bravo to you. Our leadership race started in the Côte des Neiges neighborhood in Montreal, an area where citizens of all areas work together in order to improve their life.
Of our community, 135 different mother tongues are spoken in the homes of my riding. With
Catherine, we traveled throughout the country during the past 6 months, and two things stood out for us.
Community we visited, we found people gathering together in places just like that center in Montreal, facing the same challenges in their communities and doing the same great work to overcome them. We've also found that in nearly every case, these citizens, these conscientious members of their communities, feel that their voices are not being heard by this government. The walls of those community centers and service clubs and union halls that we visited across the country may not be adorned in grandeur or carved in stone and marble like our parliament buildings, but those places are every bit as much a part of the beating heart of our democracy. The voices of those Canadians should not only be heard, they should be at the center of our national agenda.
When we started this campaign, I was very clear on one point. As leader and Prime Minister, the members of my government will never have to serve another interest, a powerful interest. No interest would be greater than the public's interest, and that's a firm commitment.
You know, we can't ask our fellow citizens to do their part for our country if their government will not do its part for them. And increasingly, Canadians feel that whoever their government is there to serve, it's certainly not for them. So let's look at some of the facts. Young people today are engaged in their communities as much as they've ever been before, but they've turned away from politics in record numbers. 40% of all Canadians didn't vote in the last election, but an alarming 65% of our young people stayed home. Young people are active in their community groups, in environmental causes, advocacy groups, and human rights movements across the country and around the world. But they're so turned off by today's politics that they won't take the time to walk down the street to their local polling station and cast a ballot. So it's not that they don't care. It's simply that they don't trust that their vote can make a difference. And what could be more fundamental? What could be more fundamental in a democracy than that trust? What could be more fundamental to our party or to our country? As Jack Layton said, our greatest accomplishment of May 2nd wasn't winning seats in Parliament. Our greatest accomplishment on May 2nd was giving people a reason to believe that you can vote for change. Giving people a reason to believe that you can vote for the change that you want and actually get it. As Olivia told us all last night, now we have to take the next step. Democracy can't just mean the right to vote. Democracy must also mean the knowledge that your vote matters. The knowledge that with your vote you take part in steering the course of our country's future.
Whether it's economic turmoil, whether it's disinterest here in Canada, whether it's the perils of the environment across the world, it is the future of our country that's at stake. If the policies of the current government are not challenged, if not changed, the next generation will be the first in our history to inherit a lower standard of life than that of its parents, and we cannot allow that to happen.
Unparalleled innovation and discovery that has unleashed the creativity and talents of millions. How can our leaders stand before us today and say that we must lower our expectations, that our children will have to accept less? Where does that come from? Today we have the greatest human capacity and greatest potential to put that capacity to work than at any time in our history. Our future is limitless if we get our priorities right. So, The challenge that confronts us is not a failure of ability or talent, it is a failure of leadership. And that is a failure that we intend to reverse. Leadership comes in many forms. Our current government appeals to people's fears, rules by seeking out division, and is leaving the tab for our expenses to our grandchildren.
But what unites us is far greater than what opposes us.
Un producteur de blé.
A wheat producer in Melfort in Saskatchewan and a fisher in Gaspésie have much more in common than they do with the powerful interests served by this government.
Alors pour gagner,
in order to win the next election and to have our first NDP federal government, our party must reach beyond its traditional base and unite all progressist forces under the NDP's banner.
NPD. Alors que nous cherchons
As we try to unite progressive forces in Canada, we won't do it by sacrificing the unity of our country. For far too long, certain leaders did nothing more than divide Canadians, pitting Francophones against Anglophones, west to the east. Even if this division can lead to short-term political gains, the price to pay is far too heavy for a nation. This perception of mayhem between regions and communities makes our challenges even greater. But I believe that in our heart of hearts, whatever political opinion, we all share the same fundamental values.
Live on safe streets just like everyone else. Most conservatives I know still take pride in the fact that as Canadians, we care for one another when we get sick. From Medicare to public pensions, these values are reflected in the institutions we've built, institutions we risk losing under the policies of the current government. As we unite our party to take on a government that is dismantling the very institutions we hold dear, we will do so without excluding or demonizing those who disagree with us. We will unite progressives, we will unite our country,
and together we will work towards a more just and a better world.